Now, what nobody tells you about leading with the hips in the downswing, getting them clearing, is one word: time. No one ever says time when it comes to leading and clearing the hips. You need to give yourself time to start the downswing to get them to open up. The downswing happens so quickly, especially the start of it, milliseconds. So that's where you need to give yourself all the time in the world to get them to clear. Because what we see amateur golfers always do, they rush that start of the downswing. They get that trail side of the hip. Because of course, right-handed golfer, like myself, you're going to want to use that right side more than you're going to want to use the left. If you're moving really quickly in transition, you're going to move that right side moving forward, and then that's going to be in a terrible place to be able to clear those hips. Because if you move that right side first, that's going to get the trail arm stuck, club stuck, and that's going to make you stand up to throw the club onto the golf ball. And that's why we see so many golfers who do try to clear their hips and it results in a shank shot because it pushes everything to the golf ball. We need time to clear our hips, to clear it with the left side. So let's dive into the time more. There's two keys to give yourself more time in transition, which is not only going to help you to clear the hips, it's going to help you to really get great rhythm and great ball striking. So really the things we need to glue our rounds together. It's great for the golf course, this is. So that's where number one, feeling really slow with your arms, like they're in slow motion. So we're starting that downswing slow motion with the arms, because if the arms go too fast, they're going to outrace everything. So then you won't even be able to turn the hips. So that's where fast arms are the enemy of hip rotation. So that's where you want to feel really nice and slow in transition. So even this shot here, I'm going to feel as slow as anything. Doesn't look it though, did it? It didn't look like I was slow at all, but I was really feeling like that downswing, that transition was working in slow motion. So that's number one. The arms have to feel like they're moving slow to give you time to be able to clear the hips. So slow arms in transition. The second key to time in transition and to start that downswing to give you better hip turn is to don't try to turn the hips in that first movement. Because like we said at the very beginning, when you try, let's say for a right-handed golfer or flip it around for a left-handed golfer, we are wanting to turn with our dominant side, which is our trail side. That's instinctual. So if you're going to try and turn those hips from the start, even with slow arms, you're just going to fire that trail side forward, like we said, with all the bad stuff that can happen. So we don't want to try and turn them. We don't want to at all. We want to sink them. So we want to sink that left hip. We ultimately want to not even get the hip going, feel like it's going towards the target. That's generally what's going to happen. You're going to weight shift, but we don't want to fire the right hip also. We want that left hip to sink to where it's turning left of the target. So that's our target. We want that hip turning left of it. So we want to sink that hip, turning it left. Sinking is the one I really like because it really gives you exactly that, sinking it back. You can see if that left hip is pushing back, we're clearing it. Don't want that hip pushing forward. That pushes everything onto the golf ball. If we feel slow arms, get that left hip sinking. That gets everything moving nicely. The trail arm falls in front of the body, and now we're in a green light. Just continue pushing that left hip back and back and back. And that's what no one also says. How do you complete going through the golf ball? Okay, this is all the first part, absolutely. What about the rest of it? Just keep pushing that left hip back. Keep having that left hip going left of the target, left. What that's going to do, that's going to get you through the correct sequencing. As soon as you push it more and more and more back, look at how it puts me in left leg extension as well, going through impact, which is great for getting power out the ground. Keep pushing it back. So let's get into a drill and a feel on the golf course. So slow arms, let that left hip sink, don't try and turn it. So our drill, classic chair drill, but in a little bit of a different way. So that's where you may have seen from me a couple of weeks ago, I talked about a drill with the chair. And when I was practicing with it, I did something out of laziness, which actually really made a light bulb moment when it came to doing the chair drill. I was hitting balls and then this was too far behind me. So instead of me going, okay, let me put this chair behind me and push it back, which is the general normal way I teach this drill, I thought, okay, I've got this gap. I can't be bothered to move it back behind me again. I'm just going to see whether I can hit it with my hips. So this is a great part. This gets you that sinking back. And what I saw when I did that drill is my left hip really moved back a ton when I tried to get it to hit that chair. Absolutely brilliant. Even if I didn't hit the chair, my left hip still moved back an absolute ton more than it would do just trying to push it. So first part of this drill, because it's 2 portions. This is for the hip part, letting it sink back. Get a chair, put it to where it's half a grip's distance. I may have said half a club. I meant half a grip if I did. Half a grip's distance behind me. Then just try and sink that left hip back onto the chair in the downswing as soon as you can. So that's where, when you're doing that, you can't overspin the hips. You won't. Overspinning is right side moving forward. Even if you get that lead hip moving back really quickly, what that's going to do is going to get you into forward flexion, get the trail arm in front. You're not going to get stuck like spinning out really quickly is. Let it sink, don't try and turn them. So second part of the drill, pause at the top. Give yourself time by physically pausing. So that's where, again, this will just give you that sensation of separating backswing and downswing and get you to where you could be moving in transition in a really nice spot. So get up to the top, pause for a second or two, and then left hip back, boom. Hitting the chair. Good, okay, so okay. Got a gap, half a grip's distance, brilliant. Okay, up to the top and pause. Let's do that. Left hip back onto the chair. Hard drill, as you can see there. Didn't necessarily strike it the best, but that's where we want a drill that's challenging. One of the biggest misconceptions in golf for practice is when a drill is perfect for you, you should be striping it every single time. Definitely not. If your change is only very small that you need to make, then yes, you will stripe it straight afterwards. But even for myself, when I did a drill back in the day, where there's a video, and I think it's the most viewed video on my channel, so you don't have to look very far to go find it. And it's one of the instrumental drills that helped me to become professional standard to where I could turn pro. And that is the pause at the top drill, which is what we're doing from here also for the arm movement, to keep the arm slow. When I started doing this drill, I could not hit the ball at all. I was playing off around 3 or 4 handicap at the time, and I was topping it, thinning it, shanking it. My coach said to me at the time, the reason why you're struggling with this drill is because it's targeting a weak area. And that's where he did something that I won't even try to replicate because I'll embarrass myself. And he got up to the top, paused there, looked at me, hit the ball and striped it. And he said, you should be able to do that in about 4 months. I still can't do that bit, but I can pause and hit the ball now. So that's where, because he could do that so easily and showed off doing it, you know, it tells you that for me, persevering with it over months and months, I've never had a drill improve me so much than that. But the first part of it was painful. It was very, very painful and embarrassing. So up to the top, pause, hips hit the chair on the way through. There we go. Didn't quite get it with my left hip on the chair, but it was moving in that direction, which I want. That's our combination. Pause at the top, hit the chair with the hip with a little gap. Now, feels for the golf course. So we know that practicing this and getting the drills in is ultimately what's going to get us into our swing on the golf course, no doubt. But we want to feel to encourage us and push us in the right direction when we're on the course. So that's where 2 things, just like again, it's a 2-piece thing. That's where slow arms, just like we described at the start, we want to feel like our arms are moving in slow motion in transition. Really helps from the golf course, that exact feel. Brilliant, okay. But what about the hip part? We want the left hip to sink back, absolutely. So what you can do, imagine someone's grabbing your left pocket, so left trouser pocket, and pulling it back. So this is something I used to do back in the day with my in-person lesson students. Back when I did in-person lessons, I just coach on Skillist online, if any of you are wondering. And what I used to do, I used to kneel down behind them and grab their pocket and pull it back as soon as they started that downswing to get them moving their left hip back. Dangerous, yes, I had to duck every time, but it was a very good one to get people feeling it. But then, of course, if you imagine that someone's grabbing that left trouser pocket and sinking it back, that gets you moving and clearing and leading with the hips properly. So really slow in transition, someone's grabbing that left trouser pocket and yanking it back to let those hips sink. And there we go. You won't find 2 feels better for leading with the hips properly than doing that one. And you won't find better drills to do than those on there. You won't find better drills to do about hips in general other than drills on my channel, to be perfectly honest. So that is where, if you can get this in, that's going to be so much better. And this is what no one talks about when it comes to leading with the hips. So if you enjoyed this video, click that like button if you want more golf instruction. Just like this, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video.